Hi and welcome. My name's Julie Wood and I'd like to thank you for joining me for Wake Up and Live Masterclass. Before we start, I'd just like to do a few housekeeping items like turning off your emails, stop checking Facebook, Twitter, stop writing that report, whatever it is that you're doing. I'll ask you to stop it now. Grab yourself a drink of water, pen and paper to write on, and we'll get started. So while I'm waiting for you to do that, I'll just tell you a little bit about the Cash Queens Club. I'm the co-founder of the Cash Queens Club with my business partner and obviously other co-founder Sandra Venables. And we developed the Cash Queens to empower women so that they can make a difference and become independent and live the lives that they should be living. And that's sort of what we did. Each of us had our own businesses. We'd worked together on a couple of projects. We were supporting each other. We realised that synergistically we worked really well together. So I'm here for the next 80 minutes to guide you through the 5 easy steps to transform your life of just amazing, or just average really, not amazing, sorry, and just surviving, to planning your life of wealth creation, from being average to awesome and amazing. And I want to be the first to congratulate you for turning up. So give yourself a big pat on the back for that, because it really takes courage to take that step, to do something, to move yourself of the pain, out of that pain of unconsciousness, of living in the coma of your own making, into becoming that independent, wealthy person. So here it is, Wake Up and Live, 5 easy steps to transform your life from survivor to wealth creator. So what does it mean to wake up and live? Well, this class is for you. If you want to move from being controlled in life to taking charge and creating your own world, do you hate it, being controlled? I mean, we're so controlled in everything that happens to us. The amount of tax we pay, who we report to, what we're allowed to do. So how do you feel? Do you feel like you're being stomped on? Do you want to be free? Do you want to live life freely, how, where, and with whom you want? I think we all do that. And you want to be part of a community. You want to be a community of like-minded people who share a common vision. They really want to make a difference to the world. But you realise that you need money to do that. So you need to make money to make that difference. And it scares the shit out of you, really, to change. You know, you have to step out of your comfort zone. There's lots of fear, trepidation, and anxiety over changing your life. And you want to get rid of it. You want to move into your flow. And if you're in your flow, you can have the life that you want. And dare I say, you can discover more things about yourself, because that's a bit scary and it's frightening when you start to do it. But once you've done it and you realise that you're in control, you can design a life that you want. But it's not for you if you're a procrastinator, only interested in the quick fix, because let's face it, there's never any quick fix. It's always just a band-aid. You never complete anything, and you're always looking for the next thing, someone else's dream, and you get sucked into it. And you're happy living life in your self-inflicted coma, because what's the point? You might as well stay where you are, being average. And staying there is uncomfortable. So if you're happy, that's fine. But if you're willing to change and embrace a new way to live, then this webinar's for you. Well, let's talk about being average. Being average means you're not awake. You're not doing what you want to do. You're not living freely. And you're not doing it because if you were living freely, you'd already be doing all the things you want to be doing. You'd already be making a contribution in the world. You'd already be making money to make a difference, but You're not at the moment because you're struggling. You're barely able to manage your bills. You're not saving for anything. You can't get a house, or if you've got a house, all you're doing is paying the mortgage, the electricity, the insurances, go on and on and on. But you're looking to change. And you're looking to have a better life because you're just so over it. Let me ask you a simple question. Would you class yourself as being unconscious? Are you in a self-induced coma? And you know you're in it because it's the coma of being average. It has the illusion of limited resources. And have you ever tried to make money? Have you ever tried, you might have 3 jobs and you just find that you're not getting ahead. Are you trying to do it all by yourself? Have you read some books or heard someone talk about making things happening and you hear all about it? You just read The Secret, manifest whatever you like. But it hasn't happened. And why hasn't it happened? Well, just for a moment, I'd like you to think about an egg. And if you think about us, we're like an egg. On the inside, we have all this potential, all this inspiration just percolating through us. There's growth, there's input, can provide an income, and it's all there inside our shell, all waiting to be born, all waiting to be birthed. And the outside of the egg has output. And when it's broken by all these new ideas, by the new life force inside it, life begins and it grows into something magnificent. But if the egg's broken by outside forces, life ends and you make scrambled egg or meringue, whatever. So if you're thinking about it in terms of ourselves, as I said, outside forces sometimes have programmed us to fail, to break us, to make us feel inadequate, feel no good and useless. I'm sure you've heard it all. You'll never amount to anything. You're just a woman. What do you know? But it's not your fault. It's not your fault that people have programmed you into feeling a failure. And that's why you're here. You can't make those decisions. You've tried all those things and they never work. But the thing is about waking up, you have to change. You have to change your mindset, your beliefs, and people don't like it because it's uncomfortable when you do that. There's no quick fix. It's not overnight. You have to make decisions and you have to change. And people would rather keep you uncomfortable in your unconsciousness. So it keeps them uncomfortable in their unconsciousness. But that's not okay. I think you'd rather embrace the change, get into your flow, become prosperous, and doing all those things that you want to do, designing your own life. Because we're in a change, we're in a time of change, we're in a time of enlightenment, we're in a time of manifestation. Everything that you think about now, you can manifest. But you have to have the right mindset to do it. And you have to embrace it and make a decision to do it. So you can either stay where you are in mediocrity, being average and just surviving, or you can embrace a new way to live. And I'm going to show you how to wake up and live. So listen, take notes, decide, and take action. Are you ready? So what I want to do is take us on a little exercise now. I'm going to play a little bit of background music and take you on a little journey. So make sure you're comfortable sitting there in your chair. And one way to relax yourself is to take some nice deep breaths. So let me start this music and see if we've got some action. Okay, sitting comfortably back in your chair. Taking nice deep breaths. Now 3 nice deep breaths gets you started relaxing your whole body. While you're taking those nice deep breaths, just picturing one of those chairs, if you like, that I've put on the screen, and sitting in it, making yourself really comfortable. And I want you to imagine, just for a moment, that money was no object. In fact, you have all the money you would ever need and more. Money is not a problem for you. And you're sitting comfortably in that chair wherever in the world you want to. So where would you be? Can you see yourself in that place? Deep breathing to relax. And looking around, you're in the house of your dreams, and you know the one. It could be a house or a penthouse apartment, a studio apartment, a beautiful space where you can live and work. Could be where you are now, or a tent, or a shack, a yacht, a cave, whatever is your dream. It might be a yacht. And just savouring that experience of sitting there. And how good it feels, knowing that your wealth is unlimited. It's all there. You've got over $1 million in your bank account, which is safe. And you can do whatever you like. And you're deciding now that you'd like to holiday. It could be volunteering or mountaineering, cruising, sailing, or just lazing somewhere exotic. Just feel it. And you're boarding your plane now for your flights. You might be alone or with friends or family. Or you might be meeting your family at the other end, or meeting your friends at your destination, or might be meeting a whole new group of people. And you're ushered to your first class seats. Or perhaps you decided to fly business class today. I mean, sometimes business class is better. And you sit down and you say hello to your neighbour, and they say hello back to you, and then they ask you about yourself because they really seem friendly and they're really interested in what you've got to say. And you think back on your journey to get where you are today and how grateful you are that you made those changes in your life, that you chose to wake up and start living, and you tell all this to your neighbour. You have the confidence that a short time ago you thought was impossible to achieve. Even sitting and chatting like this was something you would never do. You realise those periods of depression and feelings of failure have been replaced with this belief in yourself and this sense of completeness. And you have a really deep joy, a deep happiness, knowing that you can do anything that you want. Overcome obstacles. Think outside the box. And you found a supportive community where you feel safe, where you can say what you think, where people will just believe in you and support you and encourage you. And you're in your flow, and life is so much easier. You feel blessed and want to share it with others. Your neighbour wants to know more, so you share more. You've got just a great sense of gratitude, for now you have the ability to be, do and have. So I want you to just feel that gratitude for a moment. For you are creating and manifesting your life just as you want it. Really feel it and have a sense. Be grateful for everything your life's brought you to this point, because it's taught you great lessons. And now it's time to let go of all those old beliefs and programs as you move into this new world of enlightenment. And just sitting there and relaxing and enjoying it and just having and feeling that gratitude, knowing that you've entered this new world. And when you're ready, bringing yourself gently back into the room, just feeling something stirring inside you. Just feeling that deep knowing that it's begun. The change has started. There's joy and a little trepidation, but it feels good and brings a smile to your face as you open your eyes and take a nice deep breath. You feel at peace. Isn't it great? So just taking a sip of water now, while I just talk a little bit about myself as you bring yourself back to the room and we move on. And what led to developing Wake Up and Live? Now, I was always a little bit different. I was a bit more awake than other people, I guess. I did try to dumb down and join the unconscious mob, but I really hated it. And I hated it even more when my husband had his accident and they tried to put us in their boxes. We were round pegs in square holes, but I had to wake my husband up out of his real coma because he was unconscious, so we could have a life and live, albeit differently. And as I said, I was a little bit different. I started my life as a registered nurse, my working life that is. I didn't suddenly be a nurse. And a midwife. I was a healer, so that's why I went into nursing because, well, why not? That's what you did then. I did family planning, occupational health, and lots of other courses. I injured myself during my training, as many nurses do, but mine was quite a severe injury to my spine, so I had to learn to walk again, which slowed down my career, but didn't stop me. I love learning new things, and we were on the road to wealth and financial independence when my husband had an accident. He had a motorbike accident which resulted in severe brain injuries and physical injuries as well. So the doctor said he'd never be able to walk, talk, read, or do much again of anything because of the amount of brain damage he had sustained. So my mission, which I took on, was to bring him out of his coma, which I did, and then to get him as independent as possible. Now, that was no mean feat, as you can imagine, because he was paralysed down his left side, he couldn't talk properly, his mental age when he came out of his post-traumatic amnesia was that of a 3-year-old. So it took lots of effort and ingenuity and creativity to get him to where he is today. Now, we took him out of hospital and took him to Malaysia to be treated by a Qigong master. And the hospital, of course, said don't take him back when it didn't work because it wasn't going to work because that was a lot of mumbo jumbo. But I didn't believe them. I said that it was going to work. So off we went for a month. I took a month off work and we did it. And when we came back, we moved from one side of the country to the other to be closer to my family. And I got him up to that point from 3 years old up to teenager and up to adulthood. He got his driver's license. So that was a success. And as a result of that, he promptly drove from one side of the country back to the other to catch up with his old friends and meet his family on the way and then come back again. So it was great. The thing that it did for me was to give me an opportunity, and I saw it as an opportunity. I said it was always going to change our lives and it'd never be the same, but it wasn't going to stop me from doing what I was here to do. And what I'm here to do is to help other people. I'm a healer. And part of being a healer is helping them to wake up. So that's what I do. That's where I am today. And now I've had the wonderful fortune to work with Sandra Venables, who's my co-founder, who is the co-founder rather, of the Cash Queens. Because we're women, we're entrepreneurs, we have many hats, and we can generally put our hand to anything. But it doesn't always excite us or make us happy. But we do it because we have to, because we've got a family to support or ourselves to support, and there's no one else going to do it. And let's face it, women don't have the same pay as men generally. We're not likely to be treated the same. Anyway, I'm sure you know it all. I don't have to tell you. But if you get in your flow and you know what your profile is and what genius you are, then you can move into who you're meant to be and get into your flow. And then life becomes so much better. So that's my story. Let me tell you a little bit about Sandra. Sandra began her journey into business with a passion to heal others and help others as well, ever since she was a child. So she took a bit of a wandering path, as we all do. And her path led her to become a natural therapist, the same as mine led me to do that, and also to become an educator and teacher. Her big vision, her big why is to volunteer in clinics overseas, and she realised that you needed to do more than one-on-one consultations to do it. So she started developing her skills on the internet, in internet marketing, in social media marketing, and all that these things require. So she's great. She's fantastic at all that. And while her journey hasn't been easy, she sees the outcomes from perseverance, persistence, and belief. And ultimately, that belief in yourself, the belief in other people, the support has its own rewards. Her overall vision is to help and support as many people as she can to become financially and emotionally independent on their life's journey. And that's why we founded the Cash Queens Club, because your passion becomes our passion. And our passion is to help others, and through that help, give people an opportunity to leave a legacy and to develop their own programs. It's just amazing what you can do if you really put your mind to it. But we don't even know what we've got, do we? We need sometimes to dig deep and find out what it is. So here's some of our raving fans. Not that I like to talk about it, but you know, Julie was an inspiration. I can now see my way clearly. And Sandra, she's an inspiration, of course, to her clients. So what about your future? Have you thought about it? What is your aim in life? Do you even have one? Do you realise that approximately 30% of people are earning below the poverty line? And women, going on today's statistics, are going to have 40% less saved than men. What a scary thought. You know, in Western society, we all have to aim to make money to live. Not make money to make a difference, but just to live. And you might come from the other philosophy that the universe will provide, but that always reminds me of a joke about the drowned man turning up in heaven and complaining that God did nothing to save him. And God says, well, I sent you warnings on the radio, I sent you a boat, I sent you a helicopter, but you all sent them away because God's going to save me. Well, I sent you everything, but you ignored it. You actually have to help yourself, take action, take what's offered. So is that what you're doing? You know, you have to talk about it, really. What are you doing for yourself to help yourself? Are you doing anything? So let's talk about money, if you like, for a minute. In Australia, this is taken from Centrelink in Australia. This is for retirements, but you can translate this into everyday jobs. 54% are dependent on, we have pensions in Australia or we have unemployment benefits. Probably you can say 36% of people are living below the poverty line. If you count, we're not counting dead people, but we're just saying the rest. And the rest, 10% are probably earning reasonable amounts of money. And out of that 10%, only 5% are earning enough money to be financially free and secure. And given the statistics, 5% of you will be financially secure. That's terrible. Let's face it. The other 54% are living from week to week, paycheck to paycheck. And what happens if you're retrenched, have an accident, ill, altered family situation? The majority of you have less than $500 in the bank saved. And will most probably end up having to move house, sell it before the bank claims it, find somewhere cheaper. And a lot of people end up homeless because they can't afford the rents. And 30% are living below the poverty line. It's terrible. So what determines your wealth? Well, this is again put for retirement. But if you think about it, it applies to any age because 95% of your wealth is determined by your age, how old you are when you start saving. And the recommendation is saving 10%, putting aside 10% of your income every week. So if you started that at 17 and you saved $35 a week, you'd have about $1 million in 43 years if you did nothing else. And $350 a week is what a lot of people earn today. And here we have superannuation, which is just over 9%. So if you're earning $350 a week, that's what your superannuation is, $35 a week, approximately. But most people have what Dennis Waitley, who wrote The Psychology of Winning, calls PMS, poverty and mentality syndrome. So what you should do is follow the double your money rule. You start off with $10 and double it every week. And then in 7 weeks, you've got $1,270. But you say to yourself, where am I going to get the money from? I only earn $350 a week. That means that's more than my pay. But the thing is, you have to start what you're aiming for your life, as far as your wealth is concerned, because all you have to do is make a start and make a decision. Now, if you look at that graph, infograph, you'll see 95% is your age. Then we talk about your knowledge. You need to know what your money's earning for you. Is it 0.5%? Is it no percent? 0.25%? 10%? And you need to learn techniques to increase your wealth. You need to learn motivation, have the right mindset, and understand what the markets are doing. Your savings rate. You know, you're saving 10% of your income, or you're doing the double your income, double your money, superannuation, your own self-managed super fund. Doesn't matter how old you are or how small you start, as long as you do it. And your ability to adapt. You need to understand how the world's changing, and what will be relevant in 10 years' time may not be relevant today. You need to listen to the futurists. Read articles, TED Talks, posts, social media. We're at the end of the manufacturing or the industrial age, and we're entering a technological age. In the near future, we'll be 3D printing our furniture, our houses, our cars, body parts, teeth, bones. And absolutely, there'll still be a need for resources and some manufacture, but it'll be a completely different world than what we have today. So you need the right team behind you. You need to know where to get the information from. And you have to look at your investment style. Are you a risk taker? Are you a property investor? Are you a flipper, a buy and holder, an options trader, forex trader? Whatever you do, you have to know what you want. So can you actually afford to stay where you are in your life? Well, if you're average, you can, and you will, frightening though it is. Only 5% of people will have enough to be financially free. Is that what you want? So let's take a look for a moment. If you take the plunge and save. So let's look at the accelerator. Here's what it looks like. Just assume for a moment you have a goal of an additional $1 million in 10 years. So let's do the maths. 10 years means approximately 100 grand a year. That's approximately 2 grand a week to save for 48 weeks a year, right? Now here's the thing. Most people look at that and go, whoa, it's too hard. Where am I going to get the money from? And so they give up. You just have to save 10% today of what comes into your hand every day. And because you've made that commitment and you've stuck to it, you find the money comes. And with the power of compound interest, you'll be surprised. Because there is a time difference from where you start to where you start seeing results. And that's the difference. And as you can see on the J curve, it takes around 4 years before you actually see growth. And then it grows exponentially. Because in the first year, by the time you pay your fees and charges, you've got not that much left. But as you keep adding to it, in 4 years it starts to change. And so you really have to have the patience up front. You have to make the commitment and do it. And how many of you give up before getting results? Some things just need nurturing and growing. So you've heard the old cliche, you can be, do, have anything you want. And so yes, you can be, do, have anything you want provided you wake up and live life to its full potential. It doesn't matter what you do, you just have to do it. You have to want it. You have to want to make a change in your life. No one else can make you. It doesn't matter what anyone else says or does, it has to come for you to work. You then have to act on it and take action. I mean, look at all the most famous people in the world. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Oprah, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Michael Jordan, Sir Richard Branson, Mother Teresa. They all acted on what they want. They all had a big vision, a big dream, and they knew it. You have to have knowledge. You have to have the knowledge to change. You have to learn about something. You have to prepare well. And once you know how to do something, then you can break all the rules. It's called mastery. You have to embrace it. You have to be enthusiastic and feel elevated by what you're doing. And you have to know what your why is and have gratitude and be that entrepreneur that you are. And you have to realize you've got unlimited potential. We are unlimited. We all have so much potential. It's locked up inside, waiting to be released, and only restricted by your own imagination. As Zig Ziglar says, positive thinking will let you do everything better than negative thinking will. So when you wake up and get in your flow, it results in being successful and making a difference in your life and other people's lives. Then you make money to make a difference and leave a legacy in the world. So this is Marissa Mayer, President and CEO of Yahoo. Michelle Obama, Sheryl Sandberg, CEO of Facebook, Estee Lauder, Bill Gates, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Heston Blumenthal, the chef, and Sir Richard Branson. Now, you've probably heard of these people, or most of them, and they weren't all necessarily top of their class or had the highest IQ, or were the smartest or best looking, but they had a vision. They decided to go for it, and they took action. And now that's the foundation you need to build the story of your life on. If you don't have good foundations, you don't have a good story. So getting back to the old cliche, you can be, do, have everything that you want. So why doesn't everyone and why don't you? Well, the thing is, when you look at it, what do you want? Do you even know what you want? Do you want to just go along with the crowd? After all, it's easy here in Australia to just go along with the mainstream. But if you live somewhere else, life's a struggle and you might be a refugee. What are you going to do then? If you live in Asia or some other third world country, what then are you going to do? Well, here in Australia, you don't have to do much. After all, every 2 weeks, they deposit money into your account. It's called benefits. And it may not be much, but it's just enough to get by as long as you don't want anything. It keeps you being a victim and struggling and part of the 30% living below the poverty line. So let's look at the steps to take to move from so-called being average and normality and living in a coma of your own making to creating a prosperous life and to hit the ground running being a success. Because you know it won't be for long. That's the beauty of someone deciding to do something. There might be a little more work to start. It might need some nurturing, might need some changing. And it might just be a little more work, but for a short period of time. And then the universe takes over. It's amazing how it happens. And this is really important. It is critical, in fact. It needs to be a decision from your point of view about focusing on something and making the thing work, and then taking it easy. Not trying 100 different things and hoping one of them works. Not taking it easy before anything happens. Because everybody that you meet, it didn't happen to them instantly. It happened to them over a period of time. And you know what they say about success. Nobody saw the 10 years of the hard slog to get there. They only see the success that's presented to them on the day. So there are 5 steps we're going to talk about today, and I've related them to being awake, to wake up. So the overview of the steps is wanting, acting, knowledge, embracing it, and your unlimited potential. So let's go to step 1. The first thing we need to talk about on our journey to waking up and live is we all want more time. If only I had more time, I could. If only I had more money, I could. And we often suffer from the if onlys. But we're coming from a place of lack. And dare I say it, we're being a victim. We are in survival mode and have just enough money to be just over broke from a job. So I know there's the mortgage to pay, the kids' schooling, the rent, outings, electricity, utilities, takeaways. You're living on one income, you've got 3 jobs, there's holidays, I could go on and on. We need to change the want to a want to change. So how do we do it? Well, first of all, we have to get rid of some of the fallacies. The first fallacy is the fallacy of time. We've all heard it said that time's money, and you believe it? Right. After all, we're all taught it, right? And then we have this notion that time is money, which makes us neurotic if you really believe it. And if all you thought about was time was money, and you went anywhere and visited anything or went to the movies or went out, all you'd be saying to yourself is, how much is this costing me? This is a waste of time. And you wouldn't relax. Don't you know if it's time to chill out and relax, it's time to chill out and relax. And if you're trying to save time, you can't save time. How many times have you tried to save time and it's actually cost you more? You really have to differentiate between time and money. You've got really 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes in an hour, 60 seconds in a minute, the same amount of time as all the billionaires and other entrepreneurs and millionaires have. So the only thing really you can do with your time is ask yourself and write this down. Am I using my time wisely? That's a really important question. Am I using my time wisely? So if it's time to chill out, you chill out. If it's time to work, you work. You don't pretend to be one while you're doing the other. It just confuses everything and then nothing happens. So that's the first fallacy. The next one's the fallacy about money. We all have preconceived ideas about money. And you know it's hard to get, doesn't grow on trees, it's the root of all evil, all that sort of stuff. And people say it because, depending on what generation you are, it was hard to get post-depression. So there's whole generations that have grown up saying that, you know, you have to work really hard to get your money and it's the root of all evil. It's really hard to get and money doesn't grow on trees. But that's because they never had any and they're broke. And you know, money is just energy. Money will not go to you if you don't want it. Money will stay away from you. And because money is energy, money will not go to you if you don't want it to come to you. If you don't think about it, it will never come near you. And if you think badly of it, why would it come? Because it's just energy. So if you think positive about money and just follow the simple steps, money will come to you because money is energy. So we need to tidy up your idea of money. Money's great. And we'll spend a lot more time on this because it's one of those very important critical thinking facts for prosperity, for changing your life. So clean up all your thoughts about money. It's really simple. And the big thing with money is it is a beautiful thing that you can do lots of good things with. And most of you will have heard of Mother Teresa and all the work she did in India. And the only reason you know her name, because she's passed on now, is because she raised enough money to keep her work going. And there's so many other people with magnificent intentions who want to do all these great deeds, but you never hear about them because they can't raise the funds. And this is not good or bad, no judgment. It's just saying money is energy. And if you know how to handle money, you can do anything you like with the money. But if you don't know how to get it in the first place, there is nothing you can do with it. It's pretty simple. Not judging, it is just the way it is. Now, if you really want money, you need to face your fears. You need to face your fears and build courage, because in this world we're surrounded by fear. The TV, the radio, the newspapers all propagate fear. The governments propagate fear. We're surrounded by it. It's always been there. That's just the way it is. It sells papers, it sells news, it gets people watching. And everyone has some fear or another. And so what about successful people? Are they also in fear with their bodyguards and gated houses? Everybody somewhere is worried about something, whether it's success, whether it's failure, whether it's putting food on the table, whether it's finding a bed for the night or shelter. Whatever it is, people are frightened and they're afraid of failing. And everybody here is worried about something. Dennis Wakely said about fear a long time ago, it is false expectations appearing real. And when you think about being a child, usually we're worried and we're fearful that when mum turns the light out or when our carer turns the light out, that the boogie monsters are going to come, or somebody's going to come and take us away, or all those shadows are going to come alive. But it never happens, does it? Has he showed up yet? No, not yet. And yet we spend 90% of our time worrying about something. 90% of our time worrying about things that will never happen. And did you know only 3% of what we worry about will ever happen regardless? It's called bad luck. Stuff happens. And you just have to deal with it. No preparation will help. That's just 3%. So why spend 97% of your time on nothing? Why not just spend 7% of your time preparing for the worst and expecting the best? It's like getting ready for hurricane season or cyclone season or fire season. You prepare for the worst and have a plan in place, and you have everything ready. You have all your documents ready in fireproof containers or waterproof containers. You have your emergency pack ready, and you have a backup plan, and that way you can relax. Prepare for the worst and expect the best. And fear also means finding excuses and reasons. And how often do you find excuses and reasons for not doing things? I think that's one of the things we're best at. And we need to face what we're doing. We need to face it so that we can move forward with it. We don't forget everything and run, not really, not unless we have to, because we need discernment, and sometimes we do need to run and hide, but we need to know when. But you need courage to actually build courage, don't you? And face your fears. So how do you face your fears? Well, sometimes it's as easy as introducing a little bit of awareness, just like turning on a light in a dark room. Once you turn the light on, you can see what is in the dark room. And that thing you thought was a big hairy spider turns out to be a fluffy sock. And so, you know, the heart racing palpitations dissolve into laughter because you feel such an idiot because it was really a sock and nothing else. So what I want you to do is think about what you're afraid of. Think about what you're afraid of when it comes to money, wealth, and being prosperous. So what's stopping you? Are you scared of losing it all? Or someone taking it off you because you don't deserve it? Or someone finding out who you really are? Awareness brings relief. And so you're already halfway to resolving your fears. And I always say to all my clients that once you realize something and verbalize it, you've already halfway there to solving it. And it's the same with your fears. Once you recognize what they are, it's amazing how the universe takes over and how not very long you think, oh, really? Did I really think that? Oh, God. Anyway, the next thing we have to think about is who's the VIP? Who's the VIP? Who's the very important person? And of course you are. And of course I am, because we're all our own very important person. And the thing is, when we go through life, is we forget about the other person who thinks they're the VIP as well. We're all VIPs, and we all expect to be treated as VIPs. And when you have a client, they're saying, please make me feel important. And they may not say it in those words, but it's an expectation that they have. And what about you approached everyone in life as if you knew they had a really big secret? You knew a secret about that person and you weren't allowed to tell them. And the secret was it was their last day on the planet. So how would you treat them? Would you treat them differently? Of course you would. If they said they'd like to go for coffee, what would you do? Would you say, come on, let's go and have one, or make them one, whatever it was, to make them feel okay about it? Well, why not do it all the time to everyone you meet? And you need to step out of your comfort zone. We're all in our comfort zone. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, it's lovely. And all your loved ones would love you to stay in your comfort zone, as it supports them in their comfort zone and they don't have to do anything to change. Have you ever gone home and said, oh, I'm so excited, I'm going to take up this occupation and I'm going to do this, and as a result I'll have that, and the family says to you, or everyone says, oh, don't be stupid, you might get hurt. Don't be silly, you'll never do that, you can't do that. And they say it because they love you. And the problem is they want you to stay in your comfort zone. And the problem is you don't want to stay in your comfort zone. You want to get into another, better comfort zone. You want to go up comfort zones. It's as simple as that. How can you change if you stay where you are, comfortable in your uncomfortableness? When you think about it, because discomfort precedes victory. So take the uncomfortable option, because the world is in your hands. The next thing you do is to open your prosperity channels. You have to have prosperity consciousness. That's so important. It's a goal in and of itself, because unless it's there, it just doesn't happen. You need to open it up. You need to be the instigator, not the excuse maker. You need to measure your money, determine what you're doing in 3 months, 6 months. Track your money, commit to conduct, and do your duty. And no one will ever invest in you until you invest in yourself. So pay yourself $100 this month and double it next month, and then double it again the next month, and repeat this 10 times. Just do it and do it. Commit to conduct. Do the 10%, or start off with the $10. Just like we saw in the accelerator. Decide to do it and do it. Commit to conduct. So just to recap, you need to build courage. In a world dominated by fear, you will need to eliminate the fear. You need to step out of your comfort zone. You need to introduce prosperity and have sensory acuity and open those prosperity channels. You need to have behavioral flexibility. You need to introduce abundance into your life. You need to introduce rapport and personal growth, and introduce being an entrepreneur. You just need to have courage, because when obstacles arise, you just change your direction to reach your goals. You don't change your decision to get there. You just do it. And you just have those prosperity channels open. It's exciting. So the next step is action. Don't you love action? You need to know your outcome. You need to move from being the effect to being the cause, to being the instigator, the decision maker. And here's the thing about cause and effect. We need to get out of the excuses and move into the cause, be the instigator. So we determine what happens in our life. Don't forget that where you are today is a result of what you thought about yesterday or last year. Your outcome is important. So you need to know your outcome to have a balanced life. And that needs to be all-encompassing and cover all areas of your life. And that includes health and fitness, business and career, personal development, family, social, spiritual, volunteering, philanthropy, charity, whatever it is that's for balance in your life, you need to cover it. And here's the key. Balance doesn't mean spending the same amount of time. All it means is focus, a bit of focus on each area. So sometimes work may take up quite a bit more, but if you love what you do, what does it matter? And if you're starting out on being an entrepreneur and a new business, you're going to spend more time on working. People can't say to you you're spending too much time on it because you know you're on a mission, you're on bigger things. And as a result, you get to work 4 months a year and travel the rest, or work 8 months and travel 4 months, or do both and have a business that you run from your laptop. So you need to have a goal for each area. And it's not just about making a goal, just writing it down and sticking it up somewhere and looking at it. That doesn't make it happen. You need to design them. And I use the Smarties formula. And the S is for making it specific. The M is for making it measurable, because you have to know when to celebrate, so you have to have little goalposts on the way. A is for as if now. We all say we can have things, but before you can have things, you have to do things. Before you can do things, you have to be someone. And before you can be someone, you have to act as if you are. So before you have to do, and before you do, you have to be. And before you be, you have to act as if you are. And this is the as if principle. So in other words, instead of saying, oh, one day in the future I'm going to have $1 million, or one day in the future I'm going to be a famous actor in Hollywood, we say, it's now today's date and I have $1 million in the bank, or I am a famous actor in Hollywood and have produced or starred in 2 movies. And you have to have reasons that you are, and they have to be rewarding. Napoleon Hill says, set your goals above and beyond your daily needs, your daily requirement. So paying your bills is not a goal. Paying your bills is just living. You need to know your why, your own why, not your family's why, not someone else's why, but your own why, your own reasons, and make them rewarding. Your why is what gets you out of bed in the morning. Otherwise, you just stay there. You have to have your reasons for getting out and doing something. So what is your big why? The T is for timed. So you need to have a date by when it's done. The I is for in integrity with you and with others that may have an effect on. The E is for feeling elevated and being enthusiastic about what your goal is. And the S is for smiling, giving thanks, and being grateful for what you have now so you get more. The next step is to take action. Doesn't matter where you are now, how old you are, it really doesn't matter. You can take action today. It's as simple as that. You are here now and you just need to start today. You need to have a plan. And the POP is prioritize, organize, and perform it. P-O-P. And you have to do whatever it takes. And you have to hang in there, the HIT. And you do it just one step at a time. You don't have to do it all today. You just have to follow your plan. Bill Gates says people overestimate what they can do in the short term and underestimate what they achieve in the long term. So that's the paradox. We've planted the seed by setting our goals and implementing our plan. We just have to nurture it to fruition. because your wealth and your prosperity is determined by the quality of the decisions you make. So if you get nothing else from this presentation, this one thing will make you a millionaire, and that's start saving 10% of everything that comes into your hand. Just read some of the books like The Richest Man in Babylon, where he says, save 10% of everything that comes into your hand. Pay yourself first 10%. And look at other books by Richard Kawasaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Richard Hamilton in his Millionaire Master Plan book, where they all give you tips on how to move into the steps to wealth and prosperity. And often we know intellectually what to do, but we don't do it. So unless you've been doing it religiously, then you're only getting it on an intellectual level. Prosperity is not an intellectual pursuit. Prosperity just is. It is either there or it's not there. And we go into that deeper in our program. So you just need to start. Start saving. Don't wait until you think you're ready to take action. Instead, take action, as the distance between your dreams and reality is called action. The next step is knowledge. You need to be a leading learner. The faster you learn, the better you get. And you need to be part of the new alchemists who create money from nothing. And that, no, I don't mean printing it off. But you need to be open to new things and pass on the knowledge to others. Stay ahead of the times. We're in a time of such transition from industrial age, the age of manufacturing, to the age of service, the technological age, where we're only limited by our own imagination, where your need is someone else's opportunity, and their need is our opportunity. And we have this amazing opportunity based on abundance, and it's about what you can offer. I love the book Abundance, The Future is Better Than You Think by Peter Diamandis and Stephen Kotler, where they explore all the amazing opportunities that have arisen as people solve our biggest problems, and how we will soon have the ability to meet and exceed the basic needs of every single person, man, woman, and child on this planet. It's amazing what the things they're doing. So you need to start to learn new things. Open your mind to infinite possibilities. Find something you're interested in and learn more about it. Take the time, invest in yourself. There is so much information out there on the internet. The choice is yours. But where do you start? Well, look at other people's experiences. They've already spent a lot of time and money, and all you have to do is learn it from them a lot quicker. Alfred Korzybski called it time binding, learning from someone else before you. If you remember, in ancient times, people used to be an apprentice to a master, and then when they came better than the master, they became the master themselves, and the master became the apprentice. But for many things, we don't have time for that today. Life moves too fast. We need to gain experience from other people's mastery. And then we can appreciate master craftsmen who do spend years learning their craft. And then we can buy their products, because their artisan skills are what we're looking for now. But we need other people's experience as well, because sometimes other people's experiences or other people's businesses can help us change our business or help us change us. And then we can transform and apply their learnings to our own situation. And then we can appreciate and support the artisan people and the master craftsmen. Another way to do this from other people's experiences is to listen to TED Talks, read books, listen from your heart. I'm just going to cough. Excuse me. If you listen from your heart, then you can see rightly. So it's not only listening from your head, but also taking into account your heart. There's a book called The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, a Frenchman. And it's a kid's book. Well, they say it's a kid's book, a fable, but it's not really. It's quite deep. So get yourself a copy of it and read it. How do you see things? Do you see them from your heart? Do you see the truth in them? Do you feel it? It's important that we take notice of our own bodies and what we're thinking and feeling. We need luck. And what's luck? Luck is labouring under correct knowledge. That's what it is. How lucky is that? And here's the thing. Knowledge is learning, and learning helps us improve our individual capacity and increase our wealth and our worth in the marketplace. And that's worked for thousands of people. And the idea is now is to begin to make it work for you. And then people start saying to you, well, you're lucky. And you can say, yes, I was born lucky, because you know that luck is labour under correct knowledge. So clean up your act as far as money's concerned. Get your wealth creation started. Be a leading learner and learn new things. Begin to learn things from other people's experiences. Find out what suits best you. Then grab hold of it and take it on and learn all you can about it, and then share it with others. You can make a business out of it. There's so much out there. Just find the things you like and grab and hold them, and then you're in luck. It's worked for me, it's worked for thousands of others, and more importantly, it can work for you. You just have to put it into practice, even if you do nothing else. Is that a deal? And then you can make your word law in the universe. And that is when you say something and it happens. You manifest it. And it's fantastic. And then you can think about, and I'm sure you have, wake up in the morning and realize you don't have what it takes to sit back and be average, because you're awesome. So step 4 is embracing and elevating. So you really need to accept responsibility for yourself and your actions. You know, when my husband had his accident, I worked as a nurse, and the doctors all said, oh, you know, you're going to have to stop working now, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, I'm not. He doesn't need me now. I mean, I went to the hospital every day and sat there with him and talked to him and did all the things that I needed to do and got him out of his coma. But I said no, because, you know, I still got to pay the mortgage and I've still got to eat and do all those things. But he'll need me when he comes out of hospital, not now. So I took responsibility. It wasn't the end of the world, felt like it, but I chose not to be a victim in it. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to have that choice of not being the victim. It's your life. You have to choose how you do it. I sat in the hospital with, you know, other people in the same sort of situations. And some people had to leave their partners because they had kids to look after. So they had that responsibility. We didn't have any children, so I could look after him. He became my responsibility. But other people had to walk away because it was too hard. It was too much, and they couldn't do anything. It broke them. But I was determined it wasn't going to break me, because I was going to find ways to change our situation, to improve it. And that's what you have to do in any situation in your life. And that's a different type of neurology or mindset. And think about it for a moment. If you say to yourself, this is too hard, this is terrible, I can't deal with it, notice what it does to you. Just say it to yourself again. It's really hard. It's terrible. I can't deal with it. It actually takes you down, doesn't it? And now say, oh, I wonder what I could do to fix this. How can I improve it? What do I do to change it? And notice how that's more uplifting. Just a simple change of words, change of phrase. Abracadabra, you've changed from being a victim to being an instigator. Just a small adjustment. And because people look at things differently and their neurology is completely different, some people like me have had that innate ability when they see something to react differently to another person. They just see a challenge to overcome, an opportunity, if you like, whereas other people just see an insurmountable challenge that they can't solve, so they give up. You need to invest in yourself. We need to look, to listen, to observe, first to understand, as too often things may not be as they first appear. We need to question what we know and hear. Often we make judgments based on our own misconceptions without investigating further, and this denies us new worlds of opportunities and growth. So you need to look, learn, and listen from others who are doing well, because they all have mentors and they're all interested in learning, and they invest heavily in their own mindset. And as the Little Prince says, it is only with the heart that one can see rightly, and what is essential is invisible to the eye. So how do you learn new things and get that innate ability? Do you invest in yourself? Are you open or not? Or are you closed up and just make judgment without investigation? You need to invest in yourself and be open, because you might surprise yourself about what you find. You need to have a good attitude, a positive attitude. Every time someone or something goes wrong or you make a mistake, you've got to think of it as a learning, a stepping stone to where you're going. Mind power is thinking thoughts independently of what you think your reality is. So catch yourself and change your thoughts. Stay elevated. When you meet people like Tony Robbins or Sir Richard Branson, they'll be interested in you. They assume an attitude of being curious, like a child. And even though they may already know the information that you're giving them, they take on an attitude of wanting to learn something new. So think about your attitude. We'll talk about more of this in our program and more in a moment. The next thing you want to do is introduce love, joy, and happiness into your world. Have fun. But don't forget, happiness runs deep. It's really deep. And having fun is shallow. Because you can have fun today and be crying tomorrow, or having fun this minute and crying the next. But that happiness, it's deep in your soul and it's there. And it makes you feel good because innately it's yours. And you have to love yourself first. You have to go into your heart and say, I love you. And look in the mirror every morning and say, I love you. And what does it make you feel when you do that? What emotions does it bring up? And look at that. And you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself first. And it's like being on the aeroplane, you know, when they say, when the oxygen masks come down, make sure you put it on yourself first and then you can put it on your children. Because they know if you don't have the oxygen, how are you going to save your child? It's no good giving it to the child. They're not going to be able to help you. You have to do yourself first. And once you do yourself, and then you can look after everyone else. So you have to eat well. You have to get some exercise, have a massage, have a beauty treatment, whatever it is. Because you have to become aware of how you feel. As the law of your being is perpetual growth, and it's part of your essence of you. You have to have gratitude and smile. I want you to list 5 things you're grateful for every morning when you wake up and every night before you go to sleep. That can be as simple as that cup of coffee you had, that unexpected phone call. The universe is delivering everything you ordered, so be grateful for it. Whether you like it or not, be grateful for it because you ordered it. And be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs do to know, so embrace it. Feel uplifted, feel empowered, be elevated because you're learning new things. And step 5 is your unlimited potential. Purpose is the reason why you journey, and passion is the fire that lights your way. So what is it that you plan to do with your wild and precious life? Think about it. You're unlimited. You've got so much potential. Do you know why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? Do you know why that is? It can't be anything else. It's a fact. If one person chases prosperity, the prosperity keeps happening. And if the other chases nothing, then nothing will happen. It just to arrive and you don't think about it or you don't plan for it, it's not going to happen. That's because the rich think of themselves as a business. So I want you to think yourself of as a business. It's really important. Doesn't matter whether you work for yourself or you work for someone else. Let's face it, if you're in your own business, you're generally working for yourself. Same as if you were working for someone else, because you don't get any days off or holidays because you're just working in your business instead of on it. Begin from today to think of yourself as a business, no matter what you're doing. Consider yourself the CEO of your own organization. And you'll approach life very differently, and different things will start to happen to you. You'll see things differently. Your focus is going to be different. And this is important. Think of yourself as a business. In the last slide, we talked about being an entrepreneur, doing to know. And part of that is knowing what you want. So you need to develop the right attitude, as we talked about before. You need to have sensory acuity, because that's your radar that sends out the signal. And when the signal comes back, you need to know you're on the right track. Is what I'm doing leading me towards what I really want to do or get to? Am I using my time wisely? Do I have the right attitude, and do I have flexibility in my behavior? And once the radar shows you that you're off track, you just need to adjust. So you need to have that flexibility in your behavior to adjust. And then you need rapport. But you need to have rapport with other people, because you need people to assist you with achieving your goals. It's no good being rude to people and treating them like rubbish, because you sure don't want to be treated like that. And the secrets of the mind power, as we already talked about. Mind power is thinking something that doesn't appear right here, thinking thoughts independent of what your reality is. Let's think about that for a moment. I know it sounds confusing. But imagine you're out in the shops looking for a pair of shoes, and you look at the pair of shoes and you think, I haven't got the money for it. But another part of your brain goes, shoes, must have. I'll have them at any cost. The next minute, you walk out the door and you've bought that pair of shoes. And we live in 2 worlds, the inner world and the outer world. So things start on the inner world first. They never start on the outer world. And the drifters think that everything starts on the outer world and then all that they do is report what they see, whereas the doers start on the inner world and then they manifest things from the inside, and then it comes outside like the egg. Now, the great thing about mind power is this. It's sort of like the law of gravity. If it was the law of gravity, you'd get it straight away, but it can't be demonstrated that way. It's just that our thoughts are forces, and sometimes what we consciously think and what we end up doing unconsciously are two different things. And these thoughts can actually be measured. There's all sorts of tests and gadgets that can measure our thoughts because we're a sending and receiving station, and we can demonstrate that 100 times a day. You know, if you walk somewhere or you talk to someone, you feel like they're really creepy. And so, you get away from them as quick as you can. Well, that's because they're sending out that message. And you go, ooh, that's terrible. And we even have it in our language. The person was really creepy. They really made me feel terrible. Well, all these signals come to you and you send them as well. And that's like if you're feeling needy. You ever had someone who's really needy? And it really sends you away from them, doesn't it? But then you find out they've met somebody or they've attracted someone. And when you meet them, they're really terrible. And it's because that need was sent out and it's attracted somebody who likes that sort of thing, who loves that needy person, who feeds off them. And that's the secret of mind power. The secret of your success is measured by the strength of your desire and the size of your dream and how you handle disappointment along the way. So make sure that the thoughts you send out are positive. Think of yourself as a business because you've got unlimited potential and you need to put out the right energy. Otherwise, you're going to attract the wrong things. And the laws of the universe are the last thing that I want to talk about. There's the law of attraction, which we've all heard about in The Secret, which is actually a chapter in Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. And what he says is, what you emotionalize, you magnify. So just remember that. What you emotionalize, you magnify. And what do we normally emotionalize? Every bad thing that ever happened to us. We talk about it with everyone. We go on and drive everyone else wild. We should change it and we should just talk about the good things. That way we can emotionalize the good things and get more of the good things. But we also have to realize in that we have to release the bad things. It's okay to talk about them, but it's not okay to hang on to them, because the law of control states that you are in control. You can actually control thoughts and behaviors. And if you get a thought and you don't like it, all you have to do is say, that's interesting, and send it on its way. And if it's not your thought, if you get a stray thought that's like, oh, where did that come from? You can send it away. If it's not mine, I'm sending it on its way. I'm definitely not hanging on to that. And here's the beauty of all these things. The law of insertion. You use it every day and you're not even aware of it. You knew you were coming here and listening to this webinar, this masterclass. So you inserted that in your thoughts and here you are. You manifested it and you're here. So you actually know and you have actually demonstrated the fact that you use these laws. The problem is generally you don't use them of your own volition. You just use them unconsciously. So the idea of learning more about them is that you begin to use things with a conscious purpose instead of letting them happen by accident. The law of exclusion, I can't talk anymore. you'll just love, because you just have to make room and let go of concepts and bring in new concepts. You have to change the old programming and let in the new programming. You have to throw the old shit out to let the new stuff in. And the law of compensation, and it really says the money you earn is in exact ratio to the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. So, what are you doing? Is that why you're not earning the money? So we have to take all those things into account, because we're in charge. As the law of the universe, one of the laws says you're in control. So what if you're not in control? What if you're just letting it all happen to you? Then what do you expect to have happen to you? You expect to live life the same way you're living now? Because your thoughts are forces. So be really mindful of what you're thinking, as you will quickly find it has turned into reality. So you need to take massive action, one step at a time, and that's the paradox. And the key to taking massive action is to take it one step at a time. If you think you're going to do everything tomorrow, you'll be sadly disappointed. Bill Gates, as we said before, says people overestimate what they can do in the short term and underestimate what they can achieve in the long term. That's the paradox, and that's why people give up. And that's the problem we have. We have a talent and we can't wait. And everything has to be today. We've planted the seed, but we haven't watered, fertilized, or cared for it. We just expect it to be fully grown the next day. And when you look at all successful sports people, and I'm going to use Michael Jordan in basketball, he wasn't the best, naturally, but he had a big dream, he had a vision, he saw himself as the winner. And he persevered, trained hard, and overcome so many obstacles, and became world famous and the best in his field. And often people with natural talent don't do anything at all. They just, oh yeah, I can do that, no worries. And they don't have to work for it, so they don't appreciate it and they don't have a dream. And that's what we at the Cash Queens do. We work with women to set them up in their own internet business, supporting them through the process to reach and replace their income. And it's not network marketing, it's about finding what your passion is and sharing it with others. Because don't forget, winners are not afraid of losing, but losers are. Failure is part of success. Failure is the part of the process to getting success. And people who avoid failure also avoid success. And really, you have to step up and bet on yourself, because your level of wealth and prosperity will be determined by the quality of the decisions that you make. So what's in your future? Really, you just need to look in your past and flip it over into your future. And there you are. So whatever you've been doing in the last 2 years, if you think about it, that's your future. So if you want to do that, that's fine. But you really need to take massive action, because it can work from you. So decide now and act. So look at your past, do a flip and put it in your future. And that's where you'll be unless you do something drastic. The people you meet, the books you read, the mentors you have, and the events you attend, workshops, seminars, and courses will all determine where you'll be in the next 5 years. So let's recap. You have to want to change. You have to act on your want. You have to gain knowledge. You have to embrace it in the change. Feel elevated by it. Be an entrepreneur, because you've got so much unlimited potential. So the path to success is to avoid procrastination and to focus on why you're not taking that massive determined action now. Not later, not tomorrow, next week, next month, or not eventually. Why aren't you doing it now? So we just about finished this webinar, and I'm really giving you a lot of information. A bit overwhelming, I think. But if you haven't done anything before, it can be overwhelming, can't it? So what can you do about it? I'd really like to share with you our Wake Up and Live program, which is going to give you the fast and easy way to make it all happen for you. So here's our little program. You're going to receive step-by-step instruction on how to implement this strategy right now. Well, actually not today. Our next intake is on the 1st of May. And the great thing with the Wake Up and Live program is that you'll be able to change your life sooner and live the life you've always wanted. So here's what the program includes. There's 8 webinars, each valued at $497. And in the first webinar, we're going to improve your capacity like abracadabra. And abracadabra, as you know, means I speak and I create in Aramaic. So by the end of this, you're going to know what your worth is, how you want your future to evolve. You'll have a set of your goals for the program and be clear on where you're going and how you're going to get the right advice and how to be lucky. In webinar 2, you're going to develop that mature judgment. You'll know how to change your behaviour, to move from being the excuse and the effect to being the cause, the instigator, the decision maker. Because your unconscious mind takes everything personally. And that affects your whole internal dialogue. Webinar 3, well, is where we start to put that purpose back in your life. And you'll know what your beliefs and values are and how they determine who you are and what you do and how to change them. Webinar 4 is developing the right attitude. You'll know what your negative beliefs are and change them, making you a prosperous person, how to be positive, how to turn things around, how to develop that innate ability. Webinar 5, we're talking about courage and learning how to use your own time machine to overcome all the obstacles you face, going back and forward in time. Webinar 6, we go deeper into making you the VIP and how you can stay healthy, how to choose to be joyful and at peace no matter what the circumstances you're in. And on webinar 7, we start to take that massive action and begin with the end in mind and start working towards what your goal and your plan, writing it and getting it going. Webinar 8 is having everything that counts. And we're giving you all the steps to getting your mental prosperity fitness because your future is greater than your past. And it's time for you to live in alignment with your true self. And our next group starting on the 1st of May. So each of those webinars is worth $497. So that's a total value of $3,976. And we offer full support. There's going to be 6 one-hour Skype sessions, one-on-one, to guide you through using the Wake Up and Live program. And also we're giving you 3 months email access so you can fast track your way to success. And that's valued at $2,997. So here's what you get. You get 8 webinars valued at $497. And that's $3,976 value. 6 one-hour Skype sessions and 3 email access months. $2,997, a total value of $6,973. But I want to reward you if you're already made up your mind. And you'll be happy to hear you get some extra bonuses as well. You get the book that I've co-written with George Fadul called How to Get a Bigger Bite Out of Life, which we'll send out to you. And this is a great little reference to give away, keep, or use as you like. And it's a real little gem, power-packed with ideas for personal growth and prosperity. The information's worth about $1 million, but we'll say it's worth $20. Bonus 2 is access to our personal development library where you get access to Think and Grow Rich, all the books that we've mentioned here today that we can give you access to, ebooks on social media, internet marketing, so that you can avoid the costly mistakes of doing it all yourself and days and weeks of time like we have to get them. And that's valued at $197. Plus, bonus 3 is we're going to give you a one-on-one strategy session to help you find your vision and set your goals, plus access to our private Facebook group, and that's valued at $597. So all you have to do is join us now, and you'll see on the side is our special link to purchase. So here's what you get. You get 8 webinars, 6 one-hour Skype sessions, 3 months unlimited email access valued at $6,973. Plus you get our Bigger Bite book, access to our library, a strategic one-on-one session, and our private Facebook group valued at $597. And that's a total value of $7,787. Can you do it another way? Of course you can. You can do it all by yourself. We started that way. And of course, you can pay a personal coach $4,000 to $8,000 a month. You can join any number of self-development programs for around, I price $3,695 with very limited support. You can outsource some of the work to build a website or do your social media for you, but English can be a problem, and that's around $300 a month. You can spend hours yourself researching the information and wasting time and money. That's what we did. Now you can experience from our hard yards. But the fact says no comparison. You won't pay that much today. After all, this will be the most intense, life-transforming and liberating program of your life, and we want to make it affordable. That's why I'm going to give you an amazing offer today, because I want your success story. Your success is our success. And I'm looking for people to partner with us and spread the word. As I said, we want to reach 1 million women so that they can reach 1 million women. And as a massive thank you for having the courage to change, to wake up and start living the life you deserve. And after today, I'm going to at least double the price of the package. So it's $7,787 value, not today. And for the next 15 minutes, it's only $497 today only. So click on the button on the side and join us today. But for those people, a mega bonus that we're going to give you for those first 5 people that sign up, valued at $1,500, we're going to help you with a name for your website, purchase the site name for you, host your site on our secure server for 12 months, set up your website and connect your social media accounts. Don't have social media? That's okay. We're going to do all that for you as well. And that's valued at $1,500. What a bargain. Costs you more than that just to get a site. So we're giving you a 30-day risk-free trial, 100% satisfaction guaranteed. We've actually got a quadruple guarantee for you. And that's because we're not here to mess around, and you're not either. Plain and simple, our products work. They've changed thousands of lives. Just follow the steps and you're guaranteed of results. We really give great customer support the best, and we take tremendous pride in making sure you're well taken care of. We make sure your questions are answered personally by us. We're here to help you succeed 100% of the way. And it's easy to do. The program's been designed to get you results easily, and it's broken down into simple steps so you don't feel overwhelmed. We've given you so much information today that I'm sure you feel a bit overwhelmed. But don't worry, we're breaking it down even more in the sessions, in the webinars. And all the materials are online and digital, making it really easy for you to access. And we're so convinced that you'll love the program, 100% satisfied. We're offering the 30-day program. And after 30 days, if you don't like it, you just have to ask for a refund. So here it is, $9,287 value, only $497 today. So please, if you want to join us and you want to really start waking up and living and moving from average to awesome, join us today, because we've put together this little fantastic program of Wake Up and Live for you to get into today. And we love it, and we want you to love it. And we know that you'll share yourself, and all the changes that are going to happen to you are going to be absolutely awesome and amazing. So thank you so much for attending today. We'll be available for questions. And if you do nothing else, commit to taking one step today and move forward. And if you really enjoyed this presentation, spread the word on Facebook and Twitter and like us, and go to our website, www.cashqueens.club. That's cashqueens.club, and join us on our journey to assist you and others on their journey to independence, financial, emotional independence. So thanks for joining us, and take care.